Hey there, guys. If you guys are rolling into the room, give me just a quick second. I'm arranging my notes here. Give me just 1 second. I will be going through some of my notes as we go through the live stream. Okay, so obviously we're going to be here to talk about the Lakewood church shooting that happened in Houston, Texas. Again, just give it a second for some folks to come into the room. And again, for me to organize my notes. It's kind of last minute I put this together because let me turn my super groovy music off here. So what happened is I put a video out earlier today on the facts that I had at that very moment. As I was putting the video up, additional facts were coming out. And then there was a press conference, a news conference, a lot of data came out during that. And I want to just do a brief update on that. And the reason why is because it's easier for me to do that than putting together a whole nother video that will pretty much, a produced video that would pretty much just rehash everything and then add a little bit of detail to it. So I know some people like live streams, some people don't. So maybe they'll choose between the two, but this will be the latest, obviously, of all that. Let me go to this screen right here. And in fact, I'm going to make it a full screen. First of all, can you guys hear me okay? Just give me a quick yes or a no. Let me know if the audio, my audio is okay. Okay, cool. I got it. I got y'all's message now. Thank y'all. All right. I'm going to, let's see. Let's go to this video right here. I believe this is an update of what has happened. Let me get it off of mute and let's see what this.
Texas megachurch owned by celebrity pastor Joel Osteen.
A shooting at Lakewood. 2 people down. We need an ambulance.
2 off-duty officers who were working security at the Lakewood church in Houston engaged an armed woman in a shootout, killing her. The injured 5-year-old entered the church with the armed woman. It is unclear who shot the child. A 57-year-old man was shot in the leg. The church used to be an NBA arena large enough to hold 16,000 people.
My mom was screaming, and then my mom said, "Come, come," and we ducked because while I called my mom, the bullets were still repetitive and they were still going, and the attacks were in the sanctuary.
We don't understand why all these things happen, but we know God's in control.
Authorities have not identified the woman or shared a possible motive for the shooting.
Okay, so that's essentially what we know from their video. I think we have, what was the time on this? February 12th. So this just came out a little while ago. I looked for the latest obvious press release to get if there's any more or current information out. And let me just pull this and let me get back on screen here and so I can work with you guys or at least talk to you a little bit. Okay, so this is what I know. Okay, so you got to bear with me on this. And look, I'm going to, as best I can, I'm going to refer to the shooter, the killer. Well, I should not a killer. They didn't kill anybody. I'm referred to the trigger person as an it. And I'm doing that really out of respect with people who have a functional mind, because I don't pretend like these people pretend that they're a different gender or sex. So out of respect to you guys, because I'm going to assume that you guys have a relative, at least average level of common sense like I do, that calling it an it until we know better is probably the fairest thing to do. Because I'm not going to call it a she if it's a he, and I'm not going to call it a he if it's a she. I know what a male is and I know what a female is. I'm not going to pretend. I'm not going to play their games. Again, that's part of the reason why these people flip out is because too many people play their pretend games with them rather than trying to seek to get them help. So they refer to this person as a she throughout here. I'll be honest with you guys, and boy, if I could find a picture, let me see if they got a picture of this thing in here somewhere. It looks like I've got pretty much video of that or pictures of that same guy right there. Let's see here. Let me pull this up real quick, guys. If you'll bear with me 1 second, I want to make sure that I do this the right way. Okay, let me grab an image. Boy, they sure don't want to show it. Here we go. Actually, I have an image I wish I could pull from my phone without having to go through 8,000 different steps, because there's actually an image that I found online, and I'll try to post this in a post for YouTube that shows 5 different, well, you know what? I'm going to show you guys because I do believe that this is, here we go. There's a picture I'll post for now. All right. Let's see here. This is going to be what we look at for now. I got you. Don't need to see those tips again. Right here. All right. So this is this person. All right. I just assumed that when I saw this was just an ugly woman. And then when people started saying it was trans, I said, well, maybe it's just an ugly man. However, I have these pictures that I got earlier, and these are from this person being arrested over time. Unless this person has been a trans pretend person all this time, it looks like I have something as far back as 2005. Now, I want you to see these pictures real quick. This looks like a woman. So I think this is a woman pretending to be a man. Can you guys see that? Let me make this, let me make my screen the bigger one where you can see this picture better. So that looks to me, in fact, I'll show you all 5 of them. There's 5 pictures. It's got the latest picture where she or he looks like an ugly man or an ugly woman. And then the other 4, I mean, just looking at the youngest one with the darker hair down in the corner, that looks like a female to me. It just does. And I don't see an Adam's apple in any of those pictures. So you know how the media gets this wrong. You never know when the media is calling it a she when it's actually a he, or if they're calling it a she because it really is a she, you know, no Franks and beans. That's all I can assume at this point is I don't know what this is. I don't know what we're dealing with here. Okay. So if I mess it up, I mess it up. All right. So nevertheless, this is the story that I'm going to be looking at right here. I want you guys to be able to tag along with me on this. Okay. So as we know, and I think they do have a related topic thing on this one. Shooter was identified as 36-year-old Janice Yvonne Moreno. Let's see, where is there some good information on here about, oh, I did find this. Houston police said at a news conference that the shooter entered the church wearing a trench coat, backpack, and armed with a long rifle. One thing we have found out since all of this transpired and since the, what do you want to call it, the press conference earlier today, is that I think some of us were wondering, well, how, if there was security here, how did this person get in there? Well, it comes to light that this trans person got and it's a 7-year-old, by the way, that came with this trans person, not a 5-year-old that was originally reported. And I stated in my video earlier today, it was a 7-year-old, not a 5-year-old. Forced the kid out of the vehicle, along with the bag, along with a .22 caliber gun and an Anderson manufacturing AR-15, went to the security guard. I don't know how it's positioned out there at this church, but this place where the church is actually used to be the old Houston Rockets arena where they play basketball. I believe it was the Rockets. Anyway, it was a basketball arena. So went there, pointed the gun at the unarmed security guard. Seems really useful to me. Forced its way in, whatever, and immediately started shooting. I guess that person was probably, firing or talking to other security in the area. I had stated that the two people in my video earlier, that the two people who shot this suspect were off-duty police officers. They were kind of off-duty. I just want to give some clarification to this. They were actually there working, but not as PD. They were there working as hired security. So they did have guns. They more than likely were very, very much uniformed and visibly security. So again, I want to make that very clear, because in the video earlier, I had read where it said they were off-duty. Well, technically they were off-duty because they weren't working for the PD. But you know how the PDs let these guys work side jobs and things like that for cash or for payment or whatever, and they can use their uniforms and all that kind of stuff. So that does seem like that's what we're dealing with here. They engaged this shooter right away, shot the shooter, and they also shot the 7-year-old boy in the head. He is in critical condition right now. He's actually not likely to survive, is what they're saying. The 57-year-old man who was also shot in the leg, I believe they've already let him go from the hospital. I don't think he's there anymore. Let me look at my notes real quick here. Previous reports said that there was writing, and I stated this in my video earlier today, that there was writing that said "Free Palestine" on the rifle. That appears to not be 100% correct. It's essentially conveying the same message, but not in that way. It appears that there was a sticker on the buttstock of the Anderson Manufacturing AR-15 that just said Palestine on it. Now, that's clearly showing support for Palestine. So whether it said Free Palestine or Palestine, it's not like I'm going to put a sticker of a professional team or a team that I'm pulling for on my AR-15 if I'm against them. So this was clearly a in support of Palestine decal, sticker, or whatever. Let's see. They had a history of mental illness. Obviously, if you're pretending to be somebody of a different gender, that alone is a mental illness. So it sounds like there were additional mental illnesses on top of the gender pretending. This is really not associated, and really why they chose this church, I don't know. This was a Christian church, but it said that the shooter, and get this is where the confusion continues to get even more cloudier. The shooter had an ex-husband. Now, yeah, explain that one to me. Okay, so was the ex-husband trans too? And we got to figure out if there was Franks and Beans or if there was a hole there. I don't know. I mean, who knows? But that the ex-husband was Jewish. They found anti-Jewish writings on this person at the church, which was a Christian church. So unless this person was completely stupid, not just mentally ill and deranged, they were going to a Christian church because they were mad at Jewish people supporting Palestine. Yeah. It's that crazy. It's that weird. That's what's going on right here. Let's see. Again, I wanted to correct that it was a 7-year-old child, not a 5-year-old child, and that's a shame. They claimed that this shooter was the biological mother, and I say mother because, again, Franks and Beans are not. There was confirmed no family at this church. So this person, again, this is my definition and the definition of a true rampage shooter, because they were going there to indiscriminately shoot and kill people, because this person did not know anybody there. None of their family is confirmed was there. Let's see. The AR-15 was purchased, according to them, legally in December. What does that mean? I don't know. All I can assume is I've heard differing reports where they say this person bought it legally, and I've heard other reports that say the rifle was purchased legally. Now, That's important because there is a distinct difference between the two. And I'm using their term of being purchased legally. I'm not using the Second Amendment term because all purchases of guns is legal. What they're talking about legally is it wasn't from a prohibited person. Now, this person had a long rap sheet. It sounds like, and this here again is the problem with our judicial system, it sounds like there were some crimes that would have been felonies. This person plead down to misdemeanors. That may end up being what allowed this nutbag to get a firearm legally through a background check, filling out a 4473. Because these court systems continue to have the right charges on somebody, and then they don't charge them for that. They let them plead down to a lesser charge, and it usually takes that felony away and gives them a misdemeanor. So in many cases, you're dealing with a person who should have had a felony and who should have, by their rules, not mine, should have been prevented from purchasing a firearm. It sounds like the pleading down by this person might have opened the door for them to be able to purchase a firearm using the, quote, legal background check system that's currently in place. So what an odd turn of events, and especially Harrison County down there in that Houston, Texas area. Horrible DA down there. Hidalgo's the DA down there. Horrible DA. And this fits the mold for that person perfectly. Hidalgo is one of those DAs that will let everybody out, lessen all of their charges, doesn't want to charge bail for anybody. So this might be a product of the DA doing business down there by letting people off soft and not being hard on crime. So that's what I want to make very, very clear, that they are saying that this was purchased legally. They don't necessarily say that this person did. And what I mean by that is somebody else could have purchased this thing legally, and then this shooter obtained it from them, because it is legal to, transfer a gun to somebody else. So at least in the state of Texas, it is. So who knows? At this point, it's not clear whether the shooter purchased a firearm or if somebody else did and transferred it over to this person. One of the points I wanted to make is that if this person is a pro-Palestinian person, which by default makes them a pro-Hamas person, which is a terrorist organization, I wonder if this person realizes that, in fact, there is another, hold that point. There's another picture that I want to show you guys that somebody sent me earlier. This is supposed to be this person. JLR Investigates is the website, the YouTube page. But this is that person wearing a hijab, or whatever you want to call the headscarf thing. So this person does appear to be either in support of the Muslim faith, Hamas, Palestine, whatever you want to call it. And I find it a gazillion% ironic that this person doesn't realize that if they were in Palestine, if you want to call it that, if they were in Israel, the Palestinian Gaza Strip, let's call it that, if they were in Gaza and were openly trans, they would be thrown off the roof of a building. Not me. I wouldn't have thrown them off the roof of a building. I would have sought to get them help. But these people continuously come out, and I've seen multiple pictures of them supporting various, not just this one, but various terrorist organizations. I'm talking about the alphabet community, not realizing that they would be tossed off of a building the moment they went into this country and exclaimed how proud they were to be whatever they are. So they're anti-American, which accepts them, but they're pro whatever these terrorist organizations are, who would toss them off the highest building in town if they could find one. So the irony is not lost on me there. So let's look at this story right here. Suspect said they had a bomb. They did not have a bomb. They did spray something on the floor. They claimed that there was nothing harmful about whatever this person sprayed on the floor. That was very strange. The other thing that I thought was indicative of the whole Hamas type thing in support of Palestine is using another human as a human shield. What bravery. you know, for you to hold up a 7-year-old to shield you from other people that you're shooting at, to keep them from shooting you. And that person got shot in the head, that 7-year-old boy. What a coward these people are. I mean, that's the calling card of these people. They're notorious for using innocent humans as shields. And if this truly was this person's biological child, to hold their own 7-year-old child up as a human shield is absolutely sickening to me. I'm not looking at how the worshipers, nobody was in any real danger on the inside because this threat was extinguished immediately. And then they go on to talk about Joel Osteen. I'm not really wanting to talk much about him. I don't have a very high opinion of the guy. So let's see. And see, there's no pictures right now. Again, that's the shooter. There's no pictures of the gun. I guess is what I was about to say. No pictures whatsoever. So I guess to the point of where the story is now, I don't think we know a ton more than the AR-15 had the Palestine sticker on it. The 7-year-old is still in critical condition, having been shot in the head. I do believe that one of those law enforcement officers who was there as a security guard, for sure, shot the child. Not their fault. They were just returning fire at somebody shooting at them with an AR-15. I cannot blame them for that. I know you guys can get kind of tough on some of these people in this type of situation, but when you're being shot at with an AR-15, these guys likely had a 9mm pistol on them. Thankfully, this person probably was a pretty bad shot because 9mm defeating an AR-15 with no one else shot is pretty incredible to me. Again, sounds like they were in a hallway, not in the main area where all of the people celebrating the church were. Otherwise, it could have been a heck of a lot worse. I think that's it, guys, that I have for an update. I just wanted to put this out because it was on the heels of what I'd put out earlier. I don't know if you guys have any additional information. I like reading you guys' comments. So I'm looking through your comments right now just to see if you guys have any additional information that I don't have, because a lot of times you come up with really good stuff. And it's funny because this is such a fluid situation. The news is just constantly coming in that I suspect that as time goes by, we're just going to hear more and more and more. They did go to this person's house. It may be on this slide here. They hauled the vehicle away that the person had. Does sound like they are of Hispanic descent from El Salvador. But yeah, they did go to this person's house. They did haul the vehicle away of this person. See, that's either that could go either way, guys. And I'm sorry. I mean, maybe I've just been out of the game for too long, but that's either a really ugly woman or a really ugly man. I'm sorry. I mean, I guess if that person were younger, or if I was younger, maybe I'd be a little bit better identifying that. But since, again, I'm not in the game, I don't have my radar on quite as much of trying to pick out these things. But nevertheless, from El Salvador, all indicators point to this person was here legally. They did own a home in Conroe. Let me restate that. They lived in a home in Conroe. I think this person lived with their grandmother. Because the grandmother was taken in today, not hauled in cuffs, but taken in for questioning. And the grandmother was fully cooperating with law enforcement in this. So again, it does sound like it was the grandmother's home. It looked like a decent middle-class home that this person was living there with, again, with the 7-year-old as well. And I feel for the grandmother, knowing that her great-grandchild got shot in the head because this piece of crap right here used them as a human shield. That's sickening. What a way, you've just lost a grandchild that you probably found out things about this killer right here, this presumed killer or wannabe killer, but you also lost your great-grandchild, potentially, because it sounds like that great-grandchild is going to lose his life after being shot in the head. So very, very unfortunate as far as that goes. I hate seeing this kind of stuff. The news media doesn't really know what to do right now. This is really confusing to them because this is not, well, they're going to call this a white person. There's already somebody on my YouTube channel that's saying that all Hispanics are white. Let me just say this. You cannot pick and choose when you want to be white. And the news media is not going to, I'm not going to allow them to pick and choose when they want somebody to be white. And what I mean by that is when you fill out a 4473, it asks if you are white or non-Hispanic, black. So they do not put on a federal form white and Hispanic. They do not consider them both the same. So the idiot that comes on my channel who is a racist, who wants to say that there's black people and just white people, so that every Hispanic person who commits a crime is really a white person as if that makes a difference. I mean, this guy's keeping score based on race alone. Too stupid to realize that humans are humans and we should all be pulling for the greatness and the goodness of all humans. This guy's literally keeping score by race. So I want to make it very, very clear that we understand this. This person is definitely Hispanic. You can classify it however you want to, but the federal government does not consider this person white. They will give this person and their family benefits and different things that a white person would not qualify for. And we all know this is true. We all know this is true. If you start putting Hispanic on all of your forms, you will get additional benefits that you will not get if you check the box that says white. And this person is too stupid to realize that that's taking from them also. So it's one of those things where we have an odd situation where the media is totally confused because they got a trans person. Oh, that's off limits. We can't say that. We've got a non-white person. Oh, we can't say that. We don't know if this person is male or female. They're hoping it's male because nothing they would love more than being able to make this a white male. So the media is absolutely confused. It happened in a church, but oh crap, they also support Palestine. They support Hamas. Well, the media doesn't like that either. They want it to be some kind of Christian that's doing something like this. So the media is in a pickle right now. The media doesn't know how to portray this story because everything is not on their side on this. If they had to actually report this truthfully and say that a transgendered Hispanic, Jewish hating, pro-Hamas Christian killer is the one who legally purchased a firearm, their heads would explode. Those are all the things that you will not hear them say because they don't want to say those things. It goes against everything that they're trying to do when they're trying to form a narrative. So this one is going to be super interesting. I do believe that the information is going to get harder and harder to find as time goes by because the media is going to walk away from this story fast. They are not going to want to be talking about this story tomorrow or the next day. Look for something either to happen tomorrow to bury this story, or else they will absolutely abandon this story because this is not what they want to be talking about. And again, thank you, Mike. Mike says, Paul, you're saying what we're all thinking. Exactly. Most of us know what time it is. You know, we can call a spade a spade. We know what we're looking at. You don't have to tell us what we're looking at. When we see something that looks like this, we know how to call it. We don't need you giving us some, and I shouldn't say that because I still don't know what the true real birth gender of this thing is. But nevertheless, we usually can call that spade a spade whenever we see it and not have any hesitation. And the media is the one that wants to always have us second guessing ourselves because, again, if we second guess ourselves, we're going to look elsewhere for somebody to educate us and they think it's going to be them. Good news is we don't really need the mainstream media because they provide no real information. So we're educating ourselves as we go. So guys, I'm going to bust out of here. I mainly wanted to put this out to give you real quick the points that are out there and what's really happening. And I may do another live stream, if not later on tonight, tomorrow, but there is more information coming out on this regularly. This is a pretty fluent situation. So as stuff comes out, I'm happy to put information out. I may just do another video out on this tomorrow. But nevertheless, I think this is an indicator that there's a lot of things that are starting to, if you're really keeping score now, there's a lot of things that we're looking at that a certain demographic is guilty of right now. And boy, nobody wants to talk about that. This is a really hard pill to swallow for the wackos on the far left. Talk to you guys soon.